Hey, welcome to the Lynn and Tony Know podcast. I'm your host, Lynn.
And I'm Tony. We are both wellness coaches and married with kids.
Join us as we talk about all things health, wellness, relationships, life hacks, parenting, and everything in between unfiltered. Thanks for listening, and let's get into it. Welcome to the... Wait, is your phone recording?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, just do it. Tell me when. Oh, we're recording?
I have to keep.
Okay,
I
keep
have to
going.
keep
And
all
then
of
you'll
this.
edit it out.
Maybe.
Okay.
Hold on. Let me put a limiter on this because I can already tell our.
This is hard. I'm a little
done
rusty.
This before.
I know, but I'm rusty. Like, it's been like 3 years.
Oh, let's get the helicopter in there. Make sure we get that in there. All right, we're fine.
We live in New Jersey, man.
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
Welcome to the show, you guys. I'm Lynn.
And I'm Tony.
And this is the Lynn and Tony Show.
Lynn and Tony Know.
Oh, I already messed up the name. Okay. Can we start over?
Yeah. 1 minute mark.
Okay. Welcome to the show. I'm Lynn.
And I'm Tony.
And welcome to the Lynn and Tony Know Show.
You just combined the two names into one name now.
What do you mean?
It's just Lynn and Tony Know.
Oh, it's Lynn and Tony Know.
Yeah.
I said Lynn and Tony Know.
You said the Lynn and Tony Know Show.
Oh, okay. So you start. You start.
Welcome to the show. I'm Tony.
And I'm Lynn.
And this is the Lynn. Welcome to the show. I'm Tony.
I'm Lynn.
And this is Lynn and Tony Know.
And why am I laughing? Because this is our first show.
This is our first even attempt at a show. And we've gotten 2 minutes deep. And we might have introduced ourselves properly now.
Yeah, I think we did.
Take 5 or 6.
So why are we here, my love?
In the universal sense, that's a heavy way to start this
Why
journey.
are we doing this podcast? There's thousands of podcasts. Why are we doing this, especially now?
We are doing this podcast because we have, in 2 short years, gathered an incredible amount of stories, an incredible amount of life lived in our relationship. And we've developed a lot of different ways to make our relationship incredibly successful and don't see any need to keep that a secret.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're here to share wisdom about our life, how we got to where we are, and we're also really passionate about just health and wellness and life hacks on how to live your best life in a crazy world that we live in. And we are based in New Jersey, right outside of New York City, Jersey City, if you know a little bit about New Jersey. Sorry, I can't. This is so hard. You edit that out. Okay, so where was I? That's the thing. I need an outline.
That's okay. This is practice.
Okay.
This is practice. Maybe we'll cut up some stuff from it. Maybe we won't. Maybe it'll be a dry run, but.
So I am currently 36 weeks pregnant. Not the best time to start a podcast, or maybe it is the best time to start a podcast.
Listen, the time is always now. So the best time to start a podcast would have been 2 years ago. Second best time to start a podcast is when you're 36 weeks pregnant.
So you're going to be a first-time dad.
First-time dad.
And I'm going to be a second-time mom.
Yeah.
So for those of you, for those who are listening who don't know about our story, let's start from the beginning.
The year was 2020, and we the universal we were emerging from a COVID summer, and we both were on the app Hinge. And I was on it for about 24 hours when I matched with you. How long were you on it?
The on and off like 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have a little bit of a different experience with the dating apps. I'm divorced, and about 4 years ago, I separated from my ex-husband, and I was a single. I'm a single mom. I was a single mom until I met you, and I, you know, date. I had actually a podcast called Sex and Jersey City. You guys could check it out. I talk a lot about my dating woos and like failures, mostly failures, but a lot of lessons were learned in that experience. And I was at a point during the pandemic where I did a lot of soul searching and a lot of healing, and I changed a lot of my ways and my ways of thinking. So, sometimes I go back to those episodes and I listen, and I think completely differently now than I did back then, just about relationships and health and wellness and all that stuff. And yeah, I was in the dating world for 3 years. And then after the pandemic, took a good look at myself. And when I went on Hinge this last time, I kind of was like, fuck it. I like don't care. I was completely vulnerable, and Tony kept texting me back, kept messaging me out, like no matter how much shit I was spewing, and I even sent him like, normally you want to send like a sexy selfie. I sent him like a photo of me like about to pick up my daughter from school, and I was like in sweatpants and like I looked like total shit. I was like, you know what? I might as well just show this person who I am, and if he runs away, then at least I know right away. But you didn't run away.
No, and honestly, it was quite the opposite of that. The realness and all of the transparency was part of the reason that it seemed to be such a strong connection out of the gate in the first place. Like, I didn't need a show. I didn't need anybody to put on some sort of idea of what they thought people wanted to see, and you didn't do that at all. And it's part of the reason why we came out of the gate so connected, and we just kind of built on that foundation of like pure honesty. Like,
And
this
we
is who
broke
I
all the
am.
rules. I mean, all the rules that I was like taught to learn in dating world. One thing is you have to meet right away. Like when you match with somebody on an app, you have to meet right away, or else it fizzles. It goes away. But with us, it didn't. And another rule, apparently, is to not be so open emotionally and talk about your baggage and talk about your hurt and your pain. And I was just like, I'm not, no rules. I'm just gonna be me and like take it or leave it. And we grew a friendship from that. Like for a whole week, you were away with your family.
Yeah. Yeah, we started talking literally while I was on my way out the door to go on vacation. And I had no idea what any of these rules were going in. And I also, hearing you say them back, it sort of feels like these are geared towards maybe younger users on the apps where the attention span is much less. And I don't necessarily, especially for the two of us, think that those types of rules necessarily apply.
They don't apply to us because of the work that we've done, and we'll kind of go over that as we evolve in this show. But in my experience in the dating world, it's very superficial and very like interviewee, and people are not authentic, and they're not open with what they want and who they are. They say one thing, like a lot of women I find will try to be like the cool girl and be like, I'm super chill, like and there's like kind of like games around it, and that doesn't lead to like happy, authentic relationships.
No, no, there's no way. And even if it does, it's such a detour to the real
Right.
stuff that makes it work.
And yeah, so that was kind of like a awesome experience. I didn't know what to expect, but from the beginning, it was like, okay, we're friends. Like, this is cool. I remember one day I was like super overwhelmed and you texted me and I was like, I'm not, and I was like going into that space of like, I'm not going to text him back. I'm going to play hard to get. I'm going to, just detach myself from that. And then a couple hours later, I was like, why am I doing this? Like, why am I pushing this person away? Because I'm afraid of connecting with someone. And I was a lot more aware of like my patterns and the way I was in the past. And I was like, I'm not going to repeat that. And, I told you about that. I feel like I told
Yeah,
you.
you did. And that also is just one of the reasons why it worked as quickly, is because you had the awareness to even see what you were doing in the first place and correct it.
Yeah. So we talked for a week
A week.
and it was lovely.
It was.
Like we FaceTimed. It was cool.
It was some real, like, almost junior high, let's talk on the phone every night, get to know you stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it really took me back to a time when, like, all you could do was talk on the phone, really. Like, you couldn't
Right.
go out every night. You couldn't go on dates necessarily because it was a school night. So it was just like, let's talk on the phone and really lay the foundation for when I get back.
And then you got back and then we had our first date.
We had our first date.
Tell us about our first date.
We met up at a restaurant right off Union Square, and I was on the phone with my brother as you were walking up, and you just bounced up to me, like literally like you were bouncing, like a little ball of energy.
Just for context, I'm 5 feet and
Mhm.
Tony's
And you had a
6 feet.
bob. You had a
Little
short
short bob.
haircut at
Yeah.
that point, which also accentuated the bounce.
Yeah.
And just this, and I don't think I knew that you were short before.
It's on my profile. It was on my profile. What do you
Yeah,
mean?
but I don't know. I don't remember
Right.
paying any attention to that or really realizing it. But you just started bouncing up to me with this big smile on your face, and I told my brother, "Hey man, I gotta go. She's here," and she immediately like came up to me and gave me a big kiss
Yeah, I kissed him right away.
right away.
I mean, you're talking for like a whole week. Like,
No,
I'm
it
not gonna
wasn't.
just give you like a shake your hand like awkwardly like, hey, how's it going? Nice to meet you. I don't know. I just felt like I knew you, and I was like, fuck it. Like, this is who I am. Like,
Right. And it worked.
we had a great first date.
We had a great first date. We had a great dinner.
It
And
was
then
like late lunch.
was it a late? Yeah,
Yeah,
it was. It was
a
like a late
night.
lunch.
Yeah.
A great late lunch. Then we went to a vintage store, tried on a bunch of random stuff.
I love vintage shopping.
Yeah. And did I know that going in, or that was just kind of
I'm not sure. Maybe
part of me knew?
you knew that I was into vintage clothing. I don't know. It's
I don't
could
remember
be.
if it came up.
Yeah.
But we went vintage shopping, hung out in Union Square, made out a bunch.
Made out a bunch.
I also one of the things that I think really got me in the door with you early was I bought Mia a present at the vintage
Yeah.
store.
So Mia's my 10-year-old.
Mia is her 10-year-old daughter that also I knew right out of the gate.
So actually, I get this question a lot from single women, single moms especially. Should I put the fact that I'm a mom on my profile? And I always tell them, absolutely yes. You want to be open and honest about your life, and having a child is incredibly important. And if somebody is not interested in that, you'd rather know that out of the gate. A lot of moms are like, yeah, but it might turn off certain people that, that I would want to get to know. You don't want to get to know somebody that doesn't want to date a single mom. Like, you should only date people that are open to dating single mom, like a single mom.
100%. It was the first gut check moment for me because it was on your profile. I was 35 at the time. I hadn't considered what if I come across a single mom. It didn't occur to me. It wasn't, in New York, it's not necessarily even that common, even at 35. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, huh, I need to think about that for a second and see where that lands for me. And it didn't take long
Right.
at all before I was like, you know what? Cool. Like, and that was it. Like
Right.
but I did like, it did its job. It made me stop and go, is that something I'm willing to consider as a part of this next step?
Absolutely.
And I was like, yeah,
And I
like I'm
think
in.
a lot of men who are mature and who know themselves, they actually would respect a woman that is able to nurture another human being. That means she has her shit together. She is able of taking care of another person. So I think that's a beautiful thing. I think dating single moms are awesome. I think single moms are fucking awesome.
Gangsters.
Gangsters.
Literal
like
gangsters.
like they have to carry both roles of like male and female, taking care of the house, paying the bills, taking care of their child while also taking care of themselves. Like and they're able to juggle all that. That's so valuable for a man to have in their life.
It is.
And again, you get like a cute kid. You kind of get like a 2-in-1. Well, sometimes cute kid.
You never know. And
Yeah.
listen, I'm not saying it's a plus or a minus for anybody, because that is an extra layer of consideration that some people
And
can't
that's okay.
handle.
That's okay. You want to know that off the bat. And I think you deserve somebody who would want you for that, and you deserve to also be honest to the a potential suitor that you are in fact a single mom, because there's factors involved. It means you can't be spontaneous and go for drinks. When I was dating, even though certain men knew that I was a single mom, they would call me up like spontaneously, like, hey, can you do drinks tonight? Like, no, I can't. Like, I have a kid. Like,
Right.
I have a schedule. So even in that case, like they need to understand like your child comes first and they come second. Like it is what it is. Like,
100%.
so you were okay with the single mom thing?
I was okay with it. I was open to it without knowing or really thinking how much that it would involve. It was just one of those things where I was like, yeah, I can stay open to that for sure.
And what I loved about Tony is that he intentionally would ask me every time we talk, like, how's Mia doing? What's she up to? What's she like? Like he did take interest in her, and I feel like sometimes some men will shy away from that because they feel awkward like asking about your kid, but like your kid is your everything, and having somebody that's interested in that like shows like I could see myself being in this person's life, and I think that's really important. So if you're dating a single mom, ask her about her kid.
Pro tip. Yeah. Well, I mean, the other thing is for me is like I've always had a connection around kids. Like
You're so
I
good with
love
kids.
kids. I
Yeah.
love them. And it was more of a natural curiosity than it was like a, like a premeditated, like it wasn't like I wasn't using it as a tactic to get in better with you or anything. I just genuinely, first of all, it's interesting. It's very interesting to date somebody with a kid. I've never done that. So that was an element of a relationship I've never experienced. So there was that natural like curiosity around it, and I love kids.
So he bought Mia like this fake poop.
Which in retrospect, I could not have been more accurate with what
Yeah,
she would
like
enjoy.
without even knowing her and meeting her, like he knew that she is, I don't know, it was kind of like maybe you sense that she has this quirky, funny personality, and she's like not your typical like little girl.
Well, I
She
mean,
enjoys fake poop.
the safety in that assumption was, the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
AKA mom's a weirdo.
I was
Kids.
I was guessing based on the proxy of mom,
Yeah.
and turns out that was a safe way to go about it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it was a great first date, and I remember like wanting to hang out with you more. Like I remember kind of being sad. Like I had this like moment of sad. He walked me to my car, and I had this, and we kissed, and I remember while we were kissing, like I had this moment of like I was sad because I was like, because with dating in New York, you just don't know. Like you don't know what's gonna happen. I like was like, I really like this guy. I hope I see him again. Like that was my thought. Like I'm like I probably won't see it. Like it was kind of like I probably won't see him again because I was just so used to going on good dates, and then just you get like I mean it's a nightmare. Like you don't have this experience.
Zero context for me.
Ghosting and there's all kinds of sayings, submarining and haunting and like just weird dating behaviors that I've never encountered that only encountered after my divorce, because I was, with Mia's dad for 11 years. So I wasn't dating in the era of like Tinder and Instagram and like just all these things. And you have access to all these people and like just, by sitting on the toilet, like you're just swiping,
Is that where you swiped on me?
No, I was actually, when I swiped on Tony, I was watching Ozark. And I was going through a really tough time in my life at the time. Just things were just really bad. And I actually, 10 days before, was getting over a 3-month, I would say, relationships situationship.
Yeah.
I don't even like calling it, with like a total narcissist. We're going to do an episode on how to find out if he's a narcissist, because I have textbook, like everything. But anyway, that's
It
another.
might be a solo app.
No, you're going to be part of
Okay.
it. Anyway, I was recovering from that. And yeah, we'll talk about that. That's a whole conversation. That's a long conversation. And yeah, I was just like, I'm going to go on Hinge just to feel something. Literally. And I remember like I got up from the couch. I was on the couch for like a couple of days. I was in sweatpants watching Ozark, and I was like, I'm going to get a snack. And that's when it said like on my phone, like that we matched. And I was like, oh, cool. And that was it. Like,
It's so interesting to listen to you talk about like post first date stuff, because I had the absolute benefit of no contextual understanding of what it was like to date New York.
Yeah.
No contextual understanding really taking dating seriously ever. So when I left the first day, I was like, oh, it's just a matter of like when we plan our next date. Like I had no anxiety around it at all. Like
And I was
none.
lucky in a way. Like I think like it was a combination of luck, like finding somebody that wasn't jaded by like the dating scene.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And also just I felt, it feels now like we're married and we're having a baby, like, and we're like best friends and we're soulmates. It feels like it was kind of like a meant to be thing. It's just the universe didn't know how to pair us together, and they just both put us on the app. But yeah, like it's a combination of kind of those two, because I was so jaded. And when we left that date, I was like, I hope I see him again. And like, and then in my head, I was like, kind of like surrendering, which I never do. I'm a control freak. Like I'm a business owner. I like to plan everything. I like to know everything in advance. And in that moment, I surrendered. I was like, I hope I see him again. And like, if it doesn't, then this was a great date. And I really enjoyed my time, and I feel good about myself again. I feel good about like connecting to somebody again. Cause I thought for a while, like, I don't know if I'll ever connect with somebody again. Like after so many years of being hurt and so many years of just going through the ringer and dating, and I always had this, fantasy since I'm a little girl of like finding the love of my life, because my parents are married 50 plus years and they're like best friends and they travel the world, and I always wanted that. And I was like, and at a point I kind of gave up on it, and being with you that on that date, I was like, okay, it gives me hope again. Like this is possible. But you texted me back.
A lot. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, I had no preconceived notions about how it should go or rules or anything like that. It was just like, I want to keep talking to this person.
Here's the thing with men, is like they want to see what else is out there. It's like it's instead of looking at like what's in front of them, it's like who's next. Who's next? Who's next? You know what I mean? Like, what's wrong with this person? Okay, I'm going to move to the next one. So I don't know, like that you're like, oh, I really like this girl. Like, I want to hang out with her again. Like, I didn't know you weren't thinking like, I just went on the app. Like, I'm going to just date and enjoy this and have fun. Like, that's what I expected from you, because you were so new to the dating world. And I was like, there's no way he's going to just want to hang out with me and not see what else is out there. And you did see what else is out there. Triggered.
Is this the cliffhanger for part 2?
I think so.
I think so too.
Okay, because we have chicken in the oven.
I was wondering if you were going to get there and you just built it right up and just masterful, like Handmaid's
Well,
Tale-esque cliffhanger.
well, the thing is, we do have chicken in the oven cooking.
We do.
And Mia's waiting for us,
Yeah.
and we have to walk the dogs.
Yeah.
So that's what you're going to expect in this show, some chaos, some truths. We're going to start also bringing in, experts and people that we trust to talk about all the things that we're interested in. It's not going to be just about us. This is just an intro. Like, I want to make that clear because we want to help people. We don't want to just talk about ourselves.
Yeah, but it's important because people need to know us.
We're laying the foundation.
We lay lots of foundations, and they've all worked out. So this is the next one.
So stay tuned for part 2, where we talk about Tony going on another date. look at your face. I love you.
Brutal. I love you too.
Stay
It didn't
tuned.
stick, in case anybody was wondering.
Obviously. Bye.